as I was saying, we're about to go around all of the CastleVania lettering with some Prussian blue. That'll be our outline color. Bright enough to stand out from the black, dark enough to not really detract from it. All right. That's probably a little bit more watery than I want, but let's start off and that's kind of a, let me see if we can get this line straight here. That's not a bad start. That's not a bad start at all. Come in down into the V. Paint along the top. Again, of the CastleVania series, I figure Super Castlevania is my favorite. Some people will probably pick on that one. They say it's the easy one or what have you, but I've always really liked that one. Of course, Symphony of the Night and Dracula X are fun. The original trilogy definitely have their spots. I really liked the first one. Probably my favorite of the Tridge. And, of the three, the only one I actually owned as a kid was Castlevania 2. So I think I have kind of a soft spot for that people have been, hopefully, more willing to accept over the years. There were a good number of years after the original Angry Video Game Nerd video where people were just like decrying Castlevania 2 was like some kind of abomination, and it was an experiment. It was during an experimental period for Nintendo and Konami, and I had no problem with the changes. It was so opaque. How do you know to do these things? Unless you had someone to tell you, or Nintendo Power. I'm like, well, yeah, that's how we played. We all talked about hints and tips and tricks at school, and kudos to Nintendo marketing. A lot of, if possibly most of us did have Nintendo Power. I think that was almost, part of the design of some of these things back then was knowing that part of the experience was community and magazines. We didn't have Twitch and YouTube and GameFAQs and everything else. I think it was part of the design. And, I think Konami's always had interesting design choices, somewhat, external to the game. Taking it, I was going to say somewhat more modern, but, still 20 years ago, more. With Metal Gear Solid and the CD case on the having the codec number on it, or even Psycho Mantis reading your memory card. That was a meta game thing, external to the game itself. It wasn't hidden, but there were things that you wouldn't get unless you had certain requirements outside of the game. And people love that. I remember on my memory card at the time, The only other Konami game I had a save file for was Azure Dreams. Was big into Monster Rancher at the time. Not so much Pokemon, but definitely the Monster Rancher. And Azure Dreams hit the Monster Rancher plus, roguelike dungeon crawler plus dating sim. It was firing on all nerdy cylinders. Had trouble getting back into it since because it's a while to get started. But I remember Psycho Mantis, so you like Azure Dreams, blah blah blah. And I was like, that is dope. The whole thing about plugging the controller into port 2. And that whole segment was good. And I know, I'm not all about Kojima. I still have no idea what the hell Death Stranding even is. Like, what the gameplay is. Forget the story. I don't understand what you do in that game. Everybody says you walk around delivering things, which, okay, like, I can do that with Paperboy, but at least, like, I'm literally dodging death. Is Death Stranding just Paperboy? I don't know. And then it's got, I don't need special moments with Norman Reedus and some Monster Energy drink and a jar baby. I just don't get the game. And that's, the same thing with movies. We're talking about Halloween, talking about horror. I've been seeing a lot of good reviews for Barbarian. And I've heard a little bit, I guess, about what the story is. But I'm tired of specifically horror movies not even telling me what it is about. From the commercials for it, it's like, there's a house and bad things happen in the basement. People keep going into the basement, and that's it. And people are like, oh, the less you know about it, the better, the more exciting it is. I'm like, no, I don't operate like that. I like to know why I'm supposed to see a movie, why I'm supposed to be interested in it. And mystery alone is not enough. Maybe once upon a time, something like Blair Witch could pull stuff like that off. But we're not in that time anymore. Well, even with Blair Witch, I first read about it in Fangoria before I heard any of the so-called, not viral marketing, but the word of mouth hype that came with it and stuff. That was definitely a movie that I think was better served by a theater experience. Same thing with The Ring. Horror movies and comedies, I think, work better in group settings. There's something about shared heightened emotions. that makes both of those genres just really work when you have to, feel those feelings. And it's the reason why there's a laugh track on TV. Sometimes laughter is contagious, as is fear and panic and other such things. I'm liking this little blue detail around the letters here. It's adding quite a bit. I am still questioning whether or not I want to go with any sort of detailed black around it, but I don't think I will. I think the blue is serving that purpose pretty well. Been watching Reboot on Hulu. It was primarily, we chose to watch it on the strength of the cast. Keegan-Michael Key, Paul Reiser, Rachel Bloom, Ronnie Knoxville, and I think it should be well known my love for Judy Greer. So there's a new Judy Greer show. We're going to watch a new Judy Greer show. That's just how these things work. We shouldn't question it. Just, accept that we are a Judy Greer household. We are a Catherine Hahn household. So we are quirky best friend, indie leading lady households. Let's take a quick look here. Yeah, it's coming along. That's pretty sharp. That's looking good. Darn that Undertale music. But it's convincing, in a false memory sort of way that we talked about pixel graphics being remembered. It's convincing Nintendo or, Super Nintendo music. It sounds legitimate. If someone were to tell me this was music from an earlier game, I would have probably believed it. It's like that one song by The Weeknd. I don't know the name of it because I don't know the names of any songs. I like it because it's probably one of the few that has really done a convincing job of sounding like an 80s song. Do 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 do, that one. Let's go around the TM. Not bad. I need to get, maybe I'll do it with I think I didn't put the C in the copyright thing. Right now I'm just trying to clear all the blue out of the brush. There's still some green in there. Not a lot. We want to clean it all out. All right, so now we're going to do some line work around the lettering, and then we should be able to kind of do the wash. So for now, we got a little bit of water here in the black, but we're going to keep it nice and thick. How do we want to do the castle? Let's just... There we go. So let's flip this way. What we're going to do is just a flat across the tops and bottoms, and then we will go into the interiors. And hopefully it's actually sunny enough now that it's dried up and I can mow the lawn, which badly needs done. Because it's typically done so badly. Hey-o! No, all joking aside, the yard needs mowed. We try and get as many chores done in the morning before we settle into any sort of artistic or hobby or even just goof off endeavors. But we had apparently some unexpected rain last night. Nothing heavy, but enough to get the grass too wet for me to really want to mow it. I hate mowing wet grass. But hopefully we've had enough hours of good sun for it to dry. And then our next big chore, strangely enough, is to use our jump charger to start our second car, because since I've been working from home, we don't usually have the need for both cars to typically be active, which means the other car sits and the battery is drained to nothing. This particular instance was doubly a pain in the ass, because not only was the battery dead, it had like only 20 miles or so worth of gas left in it. And you know, if you ever jumped a car, to get that battery recharged, you need to let it run for a while. You need to drive it. Two more drops into the black there. So the alternator can turn that mechanical energy back into electrical energy and charge the battery. And, I didn't want to be in a situation where I was driving it to charge it and either run out of gas and be screwed, or to stop and get gas, and because I've stopped without fully charging the battery, to be stuck at a gas station with, a dead battery as I tried to fill it up. That was a nice solid black line there. Yeah, I think this one will look pretty sharp when it's done. That was a rough one. Still got to be careful. Can't take it for granted, son. Despite Bill and Lance looking a little bit wonky, I was pleased with Contra. Really pleased with our Zelda. Like I said, we are focusing on Halloween. All right, that's probably the worst possible way I could have made these ones. So we've already got 9 Mad Libs that went into the Mad Lib cards. All 8 from Series 1 and 1 from Series 9. And as I said at the start of the broadcast, we also want to hit Creepy Dude from Carnival of Souls and a Monkey's Paw sometime this weekend. Finishing up CastleVania here was taking longer than I had anticipated. And seeing the sun come out makes me really want to go out and hit the yard, like right now. See? So I gotta be careful. Touch that piece down there. And that is how you get paint where you don't want it. And yeah, both my wife and I were kind of impressed, definitely surprised by just how inky, solid black you could get out of watercolors. Which is not what either one of us was anticipating. I didn't think she was an oils or acrylic lady. I have some family friends who are really into Phoenix Wright. Maybe I ought to do a Phoenix Wright painting for them. I think they just finished all the cases on the Switch Phoenix Wright collection, re-release, whatever you want to call it. They're looking for some more games like that. I suggested for Professor Layton. Well, I know it's not a one-to-one stylistic match. Figure if they liked Phoenix Wright, they would like Professor Layton. Tried to get them into Famicom Detective Club, but I don't know if that one even really clicked for me. It's kind of a hard recommendation when you can't solidly get behind it. I think I was sold partially, again, by their interest in mystery and detective games, and seeing it played through the original on Game Center CX. Oh, we know the Cacho. I miss the Cacho. You know, I hate to say it because there are a lot of fun, original content creators and stuff and streamers here on Twitch. But if I have Twitch on, 9 times out of 10, it's bootleg streams. I miss Iron Chef stream. I miss the Game Center CX streams. I'm surprised that MXC stays up. There was one stream that was nothing but Batman, but it played like all Batman movies and TV shows ever, like from old original serials and such up through Harley Quinn and the recent Matt Reeves, The Batman. I don't know if it showed Joker or not. I never caught it if it was on. Clearly, these are in violation of Twitch rules, if not outright, violations of law. But I love them. So recently I've been watching a lot of, public domain streams. That's where I most recently caught Carnival of Souls and wanted to do a painting of that dude. And those are probably on better term of service and most certainly on better legal terms. What do I want for dinner? Kind of want Chinese. A little sweet and sour chicken, steamed rice. That could hit the spot. But we don't want to spend too much money on food. We have food in the fridge. We went through a similar operation when we had to go around the lettering for Contra. With Zelda, because we were starting with a lighter background, with a yellowish background, we're able to paint the entire background first and then put our pictures and lettering on top. But with black, I want to make sure that we can get all of our details, and then we'll fill in the black around it. Just a way you have to approach things. And if you're patient and let your paint, stay thick enough, you can paint white over black, even with watercolors, believe it or not. Our biggest test is going to come around the bottom text. Right now we're just working around the logo itself, which should be pretty straightforward. We still have to determine how we want to handle the highlights around the castle. Right now we just left them white, which may be where we land. It might not be. Yeah, I think that black is going to make the rest of the color pop. Make the rest of the colors, pardon me, pop. A little more water there. Pull down some of that black, breaking down the blob. Again, get a nice, thick black pigment. A little bit too thick. Need some water in that. Color's fine, but it's just not liquid enough. Add another drop there. Yeah, that feels better. For the work we're doing, nice liquid black against a more solid blue. It's just fine. Be a little bit careful. I was watching Overwatch League earlier today as a fan supporting the Philadelphia Fusion. I was used to the disappointment I felt when we lost in map 5 against the LA Valiant. It's a Philadelphia thing. They just tend to do that. I do love a good map 5, as does apparently Philadelphia, but need to be able to close it out. Oh, darn it. I was just saying, I need to be careful around the Konami logo, and my brush jumped right into the orange. I already did the first half of my laundry chores for today, but if there was any other laundry to fold, my laundry folding movie I like to have on the TV while I do it, Midsummer. But that's a strange film to have on while you fold your laundry. Perhaps. Don't be so judgy. I find it entertaining. Well, not entertaining. For some reason it fits doing laundry. I don't know. Alright, gotta be careful around the lines again. I come at this one from multiple angles, so. And hell, watching Midsummer, at least I'm not watching Hereditary again. That one. Woof. Did not know what to expect, and so I got exactly what I expected. The unexpected. Nice, still a lot of liquid in that black there to spread. So we are coming around the top side of the logo pretty clean. That's starting to look convincing. That is starting to look convincing. Maybe I should just paint the Spirit Halloween logo. It's amazing how something once seen as cheap and a joke has become so ingrained in the holiday. I mean, what a wild business model. A store that is open maybe a month and a half every year. That literally takes over dead stores, so I guess it's very fitting, for a Halloween store to, only come alive around Halloween, then it dies and resurrects itself in the corpses of other stores every year. That's actually just about the most perfect Halloween store thing you could have. Your store is this weird zombie cannibal ghoul thing. It spreads quickly. Feeds. Is temporarily defeated. Comes back every year. Unstoppable. And growing larger and more powerful every time. Damn, Spirit Halloween. You guys are more badass than I had thought. Even while making a joke about how incredible you are. More than even I had imagined. Still a lot of fine control work just to fill in these damn blanks. There'll be, I guess, a little bit of broad brushing, if that. Now, this may be our first true single brush effort. Getting around the trademark notice. I'm not sure why I included the trademark. I think I actually just add a little balance to the image. Now we have to work around the castle, 3 lines of text. Pardon. 130, 140. Alrighty. Let's let it dry off a little bit. Old-fashioned technique there of just kind of Polaroid picturing it. Make a little bridge there to connect the top and the bottom. Two bridges. It's Bo and Jeff. That is one of the lamest jokes. Even by my standards, that is a lame joke. What was the old show that Lloyd Bridges was on? About the water? Like a Navy dude or something? Sequest? No. I don't know. It was old. Alright. Again, just for my own. Starting to connect all 3 layers. Need 1, 2 drops of water. Stir in some more of the black pigment or black paint here. Oof. hand is getting a little bit tired, so I figure, yeah, we will probably finish CastleVania here, and then mow, and come back later today to hit Carnival of Souls and or the Monkey's Paw. Because we're not on a deadline. And even if we were, our deadline would be Halloween, which is still weeks away. We try and paint every week. We don't always make it. You know, for instance, our last painting stream here was about 2 weeks ago when we did Contra and started CastleVania by just doing all the gray lettering. The painting parts are actually the easy parts. I've not had time to pull line work together or do any sketching because I've been so busy at work. I haven't had that just sit down time at my desk to do so. For a while there, I could listen in on, let's be generous, not as critical meetings. And, you know, sketch out a mad ball. But work has been busier. And upon the completion of Series 1, plus 1 from Series 2, I've been less interested in doing more Mad Balls at the moment. You know, I may finish the set, but yeah, not in time for Halloween. But, you know, if I do print out more cards in the future, I will add text to the back. We'll add numbering. If you get any of these that just has the Mad Balls themselves, their names in different fonts, and some contact information on the back, that's our alpha set. That's your alpha. If we get the revised or beta, those will be the ones that actually have numbering, maybe some information about the characters, and other contacty stuff. Alright, so mess up a little bit on our K. Alright, come on, fill in some of those blanks a little bit. There we go, flesh that out. One line down, 2 to go. Then onto the castle. And then we are practically done. Was an acceptable M. That one less so. The I in Konami, and copyright 1997 Industry Co. Comma Ltd. We are almost there. Trying to fit in between the text layers, if you will, the rows. Oh no, what to fix that? Maybe these pieces should be done in pen rather than with brush. That's why I look back at old hand-lettered comics. If they're using brushes to letter, whew, those are some skilled individuals, let me tell you. Art Simic, that I'm thinking of. Often lettering is overlooked as a valuable piece of comic art or contribution. But it can add a lot. Even its absence, once you're acculturated to it. If you look at the typed lettering of the EC comics, once you got used to that as kind of the house norm, I'm assuming purely out of a cost savings measure, but you associate it with a particular thing, almost has like a Pavlovian reaction. You know, when you see that, it's supposed to be horror. I saw a thing where there's a new, the Shudder reboot or continuation or whatever, if you will, of Creepshow has a comic line out, and somebody posted the interior of the cover, and there are like 3 stories, 3 creative teams or whatever working on it, which is cool. I like anthologies. That's what Creepshow is supposed to be. It's an anthology. But then it said 4 covers, and I think there were 21, at least 20 different cover artists or teams. And I'm like, man, like, I guess do what you need to survive non-Marvel and DC comics industry. But did we not learn the multiple cover lesson from the 90s? Are we doomed to repeat it? And like, I like a lot of the actual covers that come out of these retailer incentives, and just, you know, the art that's possible. But I hate the forced scarcity to build up this secondary collector's market, which seems just as speculative as before. You know how I saw starting lineup figures are back with NFTs. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I'll admit, I was a toy scalper for a while. Oh, darn it. I would, you know, go, I wasn't like hyperactive about it. If I was at Target or something and I saw a toy that looked good, I would buy it and flip it. But I can only imagine how bad, you know, it's going to be when people are trying to find a stupid rare NFT in the toys that Kevin McAllister shot down his laundry chute. Just like, I don't even get what you people are doing. These are the next wave of sports collectibles. Okay. Like sports collectibles, though, like sports memorabilia, as long as I've known the industry, or the hobby, or whatever you want to call it, part of it, yes, has been pride of ownership. But like, when I started collecting things, as opposed to just, you know, buying and owning, when I thought, like, oh, I will collect this, it was baseball cards. And even if you had a rare baseball card, there's like a pride in showing it off, you know? And with a lot of the nerdy collectibles of today, people have full display cases, full rooms to house and show off what they own. Okay, I get it. I have some shelves with knickknacks and tchotch. But how can you show off your NFT collection or wallet or whatever the hell they call it? You know? Hey, have a sit down in front of my computer so I can show you this, random picture of LeBron James. It's the only one like it because it's gold. I mean, there are thousands of others like it, but they are like blue and or green, and so they're not as valuable. And then, of course, enter the right clicks. Let's get a nice solid line here across the bottom. A little bit up. There we go. Starting to come together. The sun is shining bright. To fix up the C later and the K. But I think, aside from those touch-ups that we will do once things are dry, I'll clean my brush here. It takes a while to get all the black out of these brushes. I like to keep them clean. It's like a boxing match. Let's keep it clean. There's a metal band, I don't know if they're still together, called Game Over. And they focused in, or rock band, maybe not metal, in playing songs about the stories of video game characters when they've failed, when they've died, or what have you. And one of theirs is called like Little Mac's Lament or something. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It's Little Mac. There was a paintbrush on the ground. Apologizing to Doc Lewis for losing against Mike Tyson. And that's, the let's keep it clean. They say that in the course of the song, and so now whenever I hear it, I think of that song. That's your random, non-important video game musical personal trivia of the day. But check it out. I think they're on OC Remix. Now I'm assuming that I'm going to go edge to edge with this. Get some of those lumps out of the black. Yeah, we will. So let's just go across the top. This is why we have not just our scratch page, but also a bleed page. You see we've used it specifically for black borders several times already. The yellow down there, of course, was from when we did Zelda. Zelda no Densetsu. You know, I'm actually glad that we got the NES in the form that we did, rather than the disc system. I mean, sure, we lost out on some sound channels and such, but not having to convince our parents to buy additional peripherals or system extensions, and instead just relying upon the advanced mapper chips to give us the performance and battery saves and password saves. Those were all fine. They weren't perfect, but they were fine. Okay. A couple more good black lines along the bottom here. A couple more drops of water. I don't want to get any more black paint out. I think we can just use what's left in the palette. Of course, we over, allotted. Don't be too thin. Our necessary amounts of Prussian blue, rose, burnt sienna, and pale green. Looks like we may have just hit the amount of black we need. So that's it. That's CastleVania. Again, we need to fix up the K and that C down there a little bit. We'll let this one dry. Do we need to do anything with the castle, the highlights around it? Maybe, but we will address that at another time. We're going to go ahead and clean up here. Go take care of the lawn. Then the car, maybe some lunch. And we will probably be back this evening for some more painting. We'll actually do the wax pack portion of Wax Packs Weekends, which I always enjoy, opening up our various trading cards, planning a craft to do with those once upon a time, or eventually, thinking of a large Batman craft, because I think we've opened up more Batman cards than anything else. So, thanks for hanging out. Again, always check out our painting streams here on Twitch, Another Terrible Idea. We also upload these to YouTube, Another Terrible Idea. Check us out there, or on Twitter, @ATI channel. Till next time, happy Halloween.